It's Nolan. Now, before we get started, make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all sharing it on your respective platforms. Let somebody know what we're doing today. Now, let's get into the show.
We in the party like, yeah, we coming for the money like, the folks hating, we gon' run it like, from the night to the morning light, you ain't never seen it coming, creep up on them like, yeah, we coming for the money like, the folks hating, we gon' run it like, from the night to the morning light, you ain't never seen it coming, creep up on them like. I got no time to waste, yeah, I'm back for the crown wave, spinning in the club, can't swim, might drown, I'm here, rain and shine, the game is mine, I'm a vet, the cadets, y'all wait for your time, it's like, every day I get a call, they need me to ball, all I do is stand tall, them haters can fall, more swag, let it drip, I can never stall, you in my old whip, I just got another car, watch on, chill, tootin' up the field, money thrown in the air, I don't keep it concealed, taking over the wheel, all my homies is real, doing what it takes just to live life fulfilled, yeah, we coming for the money like, them folks hating, we gon' run it like, from the night to the morning light, you ain't never seen it coming, creep up on them like, yeah, we coming for the money like, them folks hating, we gon' run it like, from the night to the morning light, you ain't never seen it coming, creep up on them like.
What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, your number one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. Before we get into the subject matter of the video, I want to go ahead and say one more time, thank you to everybody that's come over here to Inside the Industry, rocking with your boy J Nolan. You know what I'm saying? We have now crossed the 25,000 subscriber margin. Yes, that is a big mother effing deal. We was just talking about 24 about 2 days ago, and we already at that 25. Next milestone is 30, but we're going to give y'all love every step of the way for every 1,000. You feel me? Greatly appreciate y'all. Does not go unnoticed. I want y'all to understand that. Especially trying to do it the right way, trying to do it the real way, try to do it the honest way, the legit way, and not the salacious way. You feel me? Because there's some people out there that really just be making shit up and blowing their channels up. We ain't gonna say no names, but we see the games. Okay, now, as we get into this video, we're gonna be talking about Jay-Z and Tony Buzbee. Now, remember, Jay-Z has a lawsuit against Tony Buzbee in California for extortion and defamation. He also has a case against Jane Doe, his accuser, in Alabama, in her home state, for damn near about the same thing. Let me make sure we correct. Yeah, basically the same thing: civil conspiracy, mishandle of justice, defamation, all that different type of stuff. That's against Tony Buzbee and Jane Doe in Alabama. So today I'm going to be giving y'all an update on the proceedings in California, because they've already begun hearings in court with the judge. And up to this point, I ain't gonna lie, the judge ain't necessarily been feeling Jay-Z the way I thought that they would. I thought that this was pretty much an open and shut case, especially with the dismissal in New York without any like real clear explanation as to why it was dismissed. They just took it off the board and thought that they were going to be able to tuck their tail and run. Jay-Z said, not so fast, filed his paperwork, but now he's facing a little bit of resistance. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, in some of the updates that I was seeing, the judge was actually considering tossing the extortion claim completely. Now, a new update has been released by Megan Cuniff. Remember, she is an investigative reporter. She goes to these trials. She gives her updates based on what it is that she sees. Some people like her, some people don't. Some people trust her, some people don't. But however you view Miss Megan Cuniff, she is one of the people that is on the ground, one of the only people that is on the ground willing to give you information and updates on these types of cases. She's willing to travel, whether it be in California, which is where I believe she lives. She's been going to New York. She's been going and traveling, staying abreast of a lot of new stuff, man. I can't lie. So she has a new newsletter that was released today, basically giving her findings based on yesterday's hearing, in which the judge had some things to say in court regarding both Jay-Z and Tony Buzbee and Jane Doe. This information has not been even updated to the docket as of yet, because I went to go look to see if I could find it, but it's not there. So we're going to have to go off of what she's putting down as she was a witness. And we're going to look at this other, I guess they're an attorney on Twitter, where they have some updates from their perspective as well. I want to go ahead and preface this. None of what I'm saying in this video is legally binding. You know what I'm saying? You can go look into this on your own time and find whatever you're looking for. If you don't like what I have to say, it's perfectly fine. You wouldn't be the first. You surely won't be the last. All right? God bless, though. So let's go ahead and pull this up. So we're on Megan Cunif's newsletter. It says, Judge revives Jay-Z extortion claim against Tony Buzbee amid accuser's statements. And the reason why it was revived is because the judge was going to toss it. She says, the ruling is not final. The judge will hear more argument on April 7th in Santa Monica, California. Okay, this is a screenshot of the docket. As you can see, this is actual paper. So she says, a judge on Wednesday said new information about the woman who accused Jay-Z of SA should save his extortion claim against lawyer Tony Buzbee. Okay. Declarations from investigators who interviewed the woman at her home in Alabama indicate she at least inferentially didn't authorize Buzbee to send a demand letter, Los Angeles County Superior Court Judge Mark Epstein said in a 50-page ruling, which again, I went looking for the 50-page ruling. It is not yet available. Maybe it'll be updated in coming days. I don't know. Epstein's order reverses his previous ruling that the extortion claim should be dismissed. However, it is not final, right? So he was going to toss it, but based on new information that was presented, the judge is continuing to review, okay? He continued the hearing to April 7th. Judge Epstein said he won't allow Jay-Z's lawyers to depose the woman, as in Jane Doe or Buzbee at this time. Remember, Jay-Z was requesting depositions to get up in their mix. She says, but if it stands, his reversal on the extortion claim will be a win for Jay-Z after his lawyers persuaded the judge in February to delay his final decision because they were obtaining new evidence. The evidence turned out to be a secretly recorded interview with the woman outside of her home in Alabama, in which the woman repeatedly affirmed in investigator statements that Jay-Z didn't assault her, including replying, yeah, when an investigator said Jay-Z was just there, but he didn't have anything to do with any sexual acts towards you. And I would go much further to say Jay-Z and this woman have never been in the same setting together, but that's my opinion. I can't state that as fact, but Jay-Z himself has said that, and I believe him. The woman also said Buzbee was the one that kind of pushed me towards going forward with him with Jay-Z. The new evidence from Carter, if taken at face value, changes a lot. This is a quote from the judge. Epstein wrote in his tentative order, referring to Jay-Z's legal name, Sean Carter. Remember that Carter's burden is not to show that he will win, just to show that there is a disputed issue of material fact. Buzbee's lawyer Sam Moniz of Shepard, Mullen, Richter, and Hampton LLP told Epstein that the manner in which investigators obtained the statements is, to be blunt, grossly improper. Of course, that's their job. He said the woman, who is identified in court as Jane Doe, was ambushed at her home outside the presence of her counsel by investigators who threatened her at the outset of the conversation and threatened her again at various other points in the conversation. Moni said the transcript of the conversation filed by Jay-Z's lawyer shows investigators threatened to publicly reveal her name if she didn't cooperate. Now, I don't remember seeing that in the transcript of the conversation, and we went through those transcripts of the conversation not too long ago. Nowhere in that conversation did it state that they threatened to reveal her name. Moniz called the situation inherently intimidating and emphasized that the judge in the now dismissed federal lawsuit against Jay-Z and Diddy allowed the woman to remain anonymous. He said investigators asked the woman questions in a blatant attempt to circumvent the attorney-client privilege. Now, I would love to hear the entire conversation because there is a recording. Let them tapes be uploaded for the people. They continue, and frankly, it's totally inappropriate. If you inserted questions like that in the context of a deposition, it would have been shut down immediately. Judge Epstein said the crime fraud exception could pierce attorney-client privilege if the woman said Jay-Z didn't SA her and the lawsuit was nonetheless filed, right? So this could be crime fraud, which I believe it is, which would remove attorney-client privilege, right? Because if she said Jay-Z didn't do this to her, but the lawyer moved forward with the lawsuit stating that he did, yeah, that's on you, homie. Moniz said the investigator's declaration mischaracterized the woman's statements, and at no point in this transcript does she say anything that comes anywhere remotely close to what they suggest she says. I'm sorry, sir. We have audio. Are you dumb? They say she's emphasizing in this very transcript that he was at minimum involved. She says it involved him. That's the word she uses. Moniz said, you can read the transcript here at the end of the document. Hold on, cuz we need to see what the hell was said. Oh, this is the same shit. We already went through this. Charlotte Henderson, the private investigator, said, but Jay-Z had nothing to do with this, correct? Miss Doe says, right. Other than he was at the party that you were at, so I mean he did not assault you? She says, no. Charlotte Henderson, the investigator, says he was just there, but he didn't have anything to do with any sexual acts towards you. It was strictly, she said, yeah. Okay, she comes back. Yeah, and we're not dismissing the fact that something happened to you. This has nothing to do with, but we just want to clarify that Jay-Z did not have anything to do with it and that he didn't SA you. The other private investigator says, is that a fair assessment? She says, yeah. So what are we missing here, Moniz? Okay. They say, take that standalone statement and accept it at face value. Okay. If you accept that, maybe she brought a false claim. However, he said the crime fraud exception requires an attorney's involvement. All indicators here are that this is a woman who was ambushed, caught by surprise, frightened, and probably saying whatever she thought she needed to say to get to intruders to leave. So now people knocking at your door are now viewed as intruders. Okay. I'll be sure to say that for any solicitation that comes to my motherfucking door, because I got a sign outside my house that says no solicitation. These motherfuckers still be trying to come. I'm going to start calling them motherfuckers intruders and handling it in jest. How about that, Moniz? Will you come defend me? Oh, boy. Moniz said, there's no reasonable characterization of this transcript that can truly characterize it fairly as saying that she unambiguously retracted her allegations. From there, it's addressed as to who hired the investigators, because of course, Tony Buzbee feels like Jay-Z personally hired these people. The folks that don't like Jay-Z are saying that he personally hired these people. However, the private investigators make no reference that they were hired by Jay-Z. So this has been looming, right? So Judge Epstein said ethical concerns about the woman being represented by a lawyer don't apply to the investigators who approached her because they weren't hired by Jay-Z's lawyers. Okay? So in court on Wednesday, Robert Schwartz of Quinn Emanuel, Urquhart and Sullivan, Jay-Z's legal team, emphasized that his firm did not hire the investigators, nor did they know they were being hired. So they're saying, I don't know nothing about this. We didn't do this. So this is out of our jurisdiction. We can't speak on it because we don't even know who hired them. The information was just submitted to us. Schwartz was in court for a hearing with Epstein in February when he referenced possible new information that could save the extortion claim, which prompted Epstein to continue the hearing and allow briefing. That's what led to the filings about the woman's interview with the investigators, and Schwartz emphasized on Wednesday that he didn't know the specifics back in February because nobody at my law firm knew these investigators were being hired. They say I wanted to talk to these investigators myself and find out what happened, Schwartz said. Schwartz said the investigators said they were hired by another investigator, and I said, who's the investigator? And his name was not even familiar to me, Schwartz said. Okay? So you got investigators being hired by investigators, but who hired the original investigator? You know, that's what they're trying to get to the bottom of. Schwartz initially told Judge Epstein he believes Jay-Z's company, Roc Nation, hired the investigators, but he later said he misspoke and it was somebody who worked for Mr. Carter who hired the investigators. So it wasn't the company Roc Nation, but perhaps one of Jay's employees. They say somebody who's one of his assistants decided to do this. We wouldn't be surprised, or let me speak for myself, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Desi Perez, but if the judge doesn't say that this is illegal, then I don't know. So here we go forth. Judge Epstein said Jay-Z's fingerprints are all the investigators, and the only reason that that Carter doesn't know, if in fact he doesn't, is because people want to be given plausible deniability. Epstein heard about 75 minutes of argument on Wednesday, then continued the hearing on to April 7th at 1:30 p.m. His 50-page tentative ruling does not change his earlier tentative ruling about the defamation claim, which is to dismiss 3 of the 6 statements lawyers allege are defamatory. Okay, so they've tossed half of his defamation claim, but the other half shall remain. I believe we talked about that before. The new tentative called out the attorneys for basically writing press releases and disguising them as relevant court declarations. So this is a clipping from the judge's ruling. They say this is for the press. No, this is not part of the decision written for the press. This is what many of the filings should have said in their captions. For Carter, the Pillinger declarations are inappropriate. Okay, so there's some pushback there. A declaration based on public information and the internet will not be admissible even under sweet water. Okay, so I believe that's Ian Pillinger, and they went and did a search on Jane Doe's history, but the judge was not moved. They say the court would feel that the declaration ought to be as close to admissible as possible, and this does not cut it. More to the point, the declarations are of no weight. The recitation of certain private facts about Doe would not be good enough to warrant a finding of actual malice, even assuming Buzbee could reasonably have found it by looking. It seems to the court as more of an effort to draw approbation against Doe than a real attempt to win the motion. That is why the court disregarded them in full, and for all Carter speaks of simply using the evidence to show minimal merit that rings hollow in light of the way he has attacked Doe's credibility on a motion where that is not an issue. The Pillinger declarations were for the press, not for this court. Again, the judge did not think that that was appropriate, right? Because I believe they went into her history of filing false essay claims about other people, about her previous romantic relationship being somebody who thought they were Jesus Christ himself. And unfortunately, the judge ain't like that. As for Buzbee, Buzbee well knows that counter declarations are of little or no value in this context. All competing declarations tend to do is emphasize that there is a factual dispute, and as noted above, that is what happened here. The issue is not what this court would do were this court acting as a fact finder and able to weigh the evidence. It is only whether there is evidence on Carter's side of the ledger that, if believed and true, would warrant a judgment. The counter evidence then seems to be more for the press than the court. So they're accusing both parties of grandstanding for people such as ourselves that are watching. And back to Carter. The orders concerning Buzbee's pro hoc vice status in New York is not terribly valuable here. The court fails even to see the relevance to the legal question the court must now decide. Again, the court must believe that the documents were filed for an audience different than the court. So clearly we got a hard ass here. Cause if I feel like I've been wronged, if I've been publicly ousted wrongfully, and I say, well, I'm suing this motherfucker and this is why, and I point out all of the foul shit that they did, why is that a problem in a court of law? I can't answer that question. I'm not a judge, but I think it's a fair question to ask. Now, I don't give a fuck about Soulja Boy trial. So that's what we have there. Now we've got this other person called Lawyered Up who offered some more information regarding this case. So here, Lawyered Up says, Jay-Z versus Buzbee. I posted earlier that a settlement would be in Buzbee's best interest if judge finalizes extortion ruling. Number 1, discovery. Ordinarily, celebs don't want discovery because it's intrusive and info can be leaked. However, Buzbee also has things to worry about in discovery. Number 2, Jay-Z's lawyer Schwartz can get phone records showing when Buzbee communicated with Doe. Buzbee filed declaration under oath that he got Doe's permission on or about November 4th, 2024 to send the November 5th demand letter. If phone records show no such communication, false declaration, right? So that will work against Tony Buzbee if they can find that no such contact was made, but he says that he contacted her on November 4th before he sent the demand letter. Schwartz can get docs showing date Buzbee was retained by Doe. Buzbee filed the declaration in SDNY saying case was referred to him in early October. Ava Law was retained on October 14th, 2024. If docs show that the case was referred on or after October 17th, that could mean false declaration as well, meaning he lied. That's the best way that we could say it. Okay? And I still feel like saying early October when it's really mid-October is a fabrication as well, but I guess it's not as substantial as it may seem. Discovery will also help to reveal the extent of any investigation by Buzbee or Ava before filing the suit on 10/20/24, which was on a Sunday. If no vetting was done by Buzbee that previous week, it would be helpful at trial in extortion, sending a demand letter for an unvetted claim, which is what Jay-Z has basically been saying this whole time, but it hasn't legally been proven, right? He states, the circumstances surrounding Doe's dismissal of the SDNY case and what she was told about Jay-Z threatening to kill her will be revealed. Remember, that's what they said. She was afraid of Jay-Z unaliving her. I know I said killed a couple seconds ago, but damn. If it turns out that Buzbee lied to Doe to convince her to dismiss the case, that's a big problem. We talked about that before. Wasn't nobody from Jay-Z or Jay-Z's side threatening to do nothing to this woman. If he did, that would have come out expeditiously. That would have been the first thing. That would have been a headline on every newsstand. That shit would have been in the newspapers. Obviously, if the case moves forward and Doe reiterates what she told investigators, that it was Buzbee who brought Jay-Z into the case, that could be game over for Buzbee. He says this is a long shot, but depending on info obtained, a finding of civil liability for extortion could lead to an investigation or possible criminal charges for extortion. Elements of civil and criminal extortion are similar. Criminal extortion has to be proved beyond reasonable doubt. If Buzbee loses at trial, the possible repercussions would be significant. Apart from money and damages, any findings that he filed false declarations under oath and or that he engaged extortion would negatively impact his law license in Texas and New York, which is ultimately what we would like to see. Because I'm tired of this motherfucker. Number 9. Any finding that Buzbee and not Doe originated the essay accusation against Jay-Z would be problematic for Buzbee with respect to his legal career and would help the defamation count, because she said it out her own mouth that it was Buzbee who pushed her in the direction of filing against Jay-Z. She has an oral admission that he didn't have anything to do with the alleged attack. Number 10, if Buzbee loses, the discovery obtained, trial evidence, and any finding of liability in the California case would greatly benefit Jay-Z and significantly hurt Buzbee in the Alabama case. Remember, I told y'all there's an Alabama case still active. It's moving a little slow, but it's still active. And I'm sure there will be updates on that in the coming days to weeks as well. Okay? So that's what we have on the table. Now, I want to reiterate, the judge just a day ago, actually, was ready to toss the extortion claim in its entirety. But the judge has decided to let it stand for now, and they will reconvene, I believe, on April 7th to determine the validity of those claims from Jay-Z. So he has been facing a bit of resistance up to this point, but some of his claims against Tony Buzbee are still standing and will have to be addressed, and we'll just have to see where it goes. Now, again, the judge is ridiculing both parties, Jay-Z and Tony Buzbee, for some of the things that they've done, because they feel like some of these declarations and submissions in the court docket have been a little bit forward-facing in terms of the public, and trying to persuade public opinion rather than the judge. But again, we'll just have to see how all of that turns out in the coming days and weeks. All right, let me know what y'all think of all this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, become an insider. I will catch y'all on the next one. Much love and respect, y'all. Peace.
King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rag. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef for computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. But drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they died of me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I been dropping these haters like calories. Cross them out, I came back with some boundaries. Stand for my honor, but too raw, no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. Wanna catch my bad, won't fumble. I done came too far to be humble.